Have you ever felt like you were giving your absolute best, but getting absolutely nothing in return? You wake up early, you put in the hours, you sacrifice your sleep, your weekends, and your comfort. You do everything right, but when you look at your life, nothing has changed. You look to your left and you see your friends moving forward. They are getting the jobs, making the money, buying the cars, and living the life they always wanted. You look to your right, and people who didn't work half as hard as you are somehow winning. And then you look at yourself, still in the same place, still struggling, still waiting. In these silent, painful moments, a dark question enters your mind. Is there something wrong with me? Is all my hard work useless? If you have ever felt this specific type of pain, this story is for you. Many years ago, in a small farming village, there was a young man named Ken. Ken was a hard worker, but he was incredibly poor. While the other villagers grew standard crops like corn and wheat, earning a steady income every few months, Ken had inherited a piece of dry, difficult land. Nothing normal would grow there. Desperate to change his life, Ken visited the oldest, wisest farmer in the village. The old man looked at Ken's tired eyes, went into his wooden hut, and handed him a small, ordinary-looking seed. "What is this?" Ken asked. The old man smiled. "This is the seed of the Chinese bamboo tree. Plant it in your soil, water it every single day, fertilize it, nurture it, but most importantly, you must have absolute faith in it." Ken's eyes lit up with hope. He ran back to his land, dug a hole, and gently placed the seed into the earth. For the first time in a long time, he felt excited. Every single morning before the sun came up, Ken was out in his field. He carried heavy buckets of water. He fertilized the soil. He cleared the weeds. A year passed. Ken stood in his field, looking down at the soil. Nothing. Not even a tiny green leaf had broken through the surface. His neighbors walked by and laughed. "Hey, Ken!" they shouted. "Are you farming dirt? We just harvested our third crop of the year, and you are watering a patch of mud." Ken felt a sting of embarrassment, but he remembered the old man's words. You must have absolute faith in it. So he kept watering. Year 2 passed. Still nothing. Year 3 passed. Nothing. By the 4th year, the mockery from the villagers had turned into pity. They didn't even laugh anymore. They just shook their heads. "He has lost his mind," they whispered. "He is wasting his youth on an empty dream." Ken's spirit was crushed. He was exhausted. His hands were blistered, his clothes were torn, and his heart was heavy. He looked at his friends. They had built new houses. They had started families. They were moving forward in life. And there was Ken, a young man in his late 20s, standing in an empty field with a watering can, crying over a patch of dirt. He dropped to his knees. "I am a failure," he thought. "I have wasted 4 years of my life. My hard work has meant absolutely nothing." Ready to quit, Ken walked back to the old man's hut. He threw his watering can on the ground. "You tricked me," Ken said, tears welling in his eyes. "I gave that seed everything. I watered it for 4 years. I endured the laughter of my friends. I gave it my blood and my sweat, and it gave me nothing. The seed is dead." The old wise man looked at Ken quietly. He walked over, picked up the watering can, and handed it back to the young man. "Ken," the old man said softly, "the seed is not dead, and your work has not been wasted." "Then where is my tree?" Ken yelled. "You are looking above the ground," the old man said. "But the Chinese bamboo tree does not grow above the ground for the first 4 years. For 4 years, while you were watering that dirt, the seed was growing a massive, deep network of roots underground. If the tree were to sprout before its roots were strong enough, the first strong wind would blow it over." They were laughing at the dirt, Ken, but they couldn't see the roots. The old man placed his hand on Ken's shoulder. "For 4 years, you were not growing a tree, you were growing a foundation. Go water your field. Ken's eyes widened. A fire ignited in his chest. He grabbed the watering can, ran back to his field, and with renewed faith, he watered the soil for the 5th year. And then it happened. In the 5th year, a tiny, fragile green shoot finally broke through the surface of the earth. Ken smiled, but the miracle was just beginning. Once it broke the surface, the Chinese bamboo tree grew to be 80 feet tall in just 6 weeks. 6 weeks! The villagers stood in absolute shock. They looked at the massive, towering tree that now cast a shadow over their small crops of corn and wheat. They thought it grew in 6 weeks, but Ken knew the truth. It didn't take 6 weeks to grow that tree. It took 5 years and 6 weeks. My friend, why did I tell you this story? I told you this because right now, you might be in year 2, year 3, or year 4 of your own journey. You are studying late into the night. You are working on your business. You are trying to heal from a broken heart. You are applying for jobs, going to the gym, or trying to change your life, and you are seeing 0 results. People are laughing at you. They are asking you when you are going to get a real job, or when you are finally going to succeed. And in the silence of your room, you feel like crying. You feel like your hard work is useless. But hear me today. Your invisible growth is still growth. You are not failing. You are simply building a foundation strong enough to hold your future. The people mocking you cannot see the roots you are building. They don't see the mental strength you are developing. They don't see the character you are forging in the dark. Success does not always appear immediately. Real growth happens in the shadows, deep beneath the surface, long before anyone else can see it. So do not stop watering your dreams. Do not abandon your field. When you feel like quitting, remember the bamboo tree.